Hey, so yesterday, guess what happened to me? I got bit by a fox, didn't I? Yeah, a four-legged red fox, a wild animal that was in my neighborhood and drawing a lot of attention to itself outside around my house. All of the neighbors were out admiring it, on how tame it seemed to be, on how it was venturing so close to everybody. Lots of cameras took lots of photos and video of this beautiful, elegant, small fox. Like, and it just stood there pretty much, and I just stood there. I didn't take photos of it. I didn't have my camera out to record it or anything. I was just looking at the fox, and the fox made its way slowly towards me. For what reason, I don't know. Now, I have a dog. I might smell of dogs. Is this attractive to him? I would have thought not, but hey, the fox came towards me, and it jumped and took a tiny bite at my hand, and it took blood from, no joke, these two fingers. Look, there you see, puncture wound from these sharp little tiny teeth, and up here is slashed by my fingernail. There's a slash from his teeth. Tiny, tiny, sharp, sharp, sharp teeth. And it happened like that. It was a touch, and it was gone. And I saw blood, and I saw wild animal, and I thought, this is not really good. So went inside. My friend, my neighbour, was with me at the time because there were lots of neighbours out and about looking at this fox. And she is a nurse, which is a good thing. And she followed me into my kitchen, getting her way past Bo, because it was just me and Bo. My wife was out at a school meeting with the car. So hospital is a couple of kilometres away. So that wasn't looking good. So I immediately started washing it at the sink. The wounds, they were very painful. It felt like I had a splinter inside. It was a different. It was not just a cut pain. There was something there. So I guess it was some kind of nasty shit from the fox saliva, probably, right? So I washed it and washed it and washed it and washed it, and then my friend, the nurse, she came through the front door. She had to get past Bo, and that was another thing. But she's a girl and she's small, so this is good. Bo doesn't like tall people, and Bo doesn't like boys much either. Women are okay. Small people are okay. And she fit both categories. So she came through. She came into my kitchen, and I pointed her to the medicine drawer, and she started to take out. She had already brought some antiseptic things with her to clean the wound. So she cleaned the wound. And then we wrapped it up. We put a bandage onto it, just a Band-Aid thing to protect it. And then she said, maybe we should really go to the emergency room. I think we should. So I fully agreed with her. This wild animal just bit me, drew blood on me. So I was very pleased with that idea, and she kindly said that she would drive me to the hospital, which she did. So we arrived at the hospital. We came into the A&E entrance reception area. There was 4 or 5 people in the waiting room waiting to be seen, and went to reception, told the receptionist I've just been bitten by a fox, a wild animal on the street, and I think I need a tetanus shot. So she took my details and said, okay, oh dear, that's very strange. And I said, do you not get wild animal bites much? And she says, not foxes, never foxes. I don't think we've ever had a fox before, was basically what she said. She get dog bites and cat bites, but fox bites seem to be a very rare thing. Rare enough that they hadn't seen one before in the hospital. So I was okay. So she said, take a seat. So I took a seat in the waiting room. and it was bright. It was the afternoon when I arrived at the hospital, and by the time I was finally seen to and let go again, what's that called, when they let you out of hospital, when I was treated, it was dark by that time, and businesses had closed now that were busy when I arrived, and it was dark, nighttime streets. But I got the tetanus shot back of my hip, and that was fine. I thought I had always heard that tetanus shots were painful things, but I felt nothing. I felt nothing. It was just like an injection of water or nothing. It was nothing. It was nothing at all. I was so happy to be getting it. I was very relieved to be getting it. I do not want to have whatever the hell that is, tetanus disease that you can get from wild animal bites. So I was so relieved to have gotten that. I stepped out of the hospital. My friend had gone home several hours earlier. I told her I would call my wife and I would manage my own way getting home. I could walk if I have to. So I did indeed start to walk home. When I came out, I was just so happy to be out. It wasn't raining. It was a lovely warm night, dark, very quiet streets. Monday night, Dunleary to Blackrock, Monkstown area, and passing by like Cillian Murphy, the Oscar winner, lives just along there, and that's on my way home. And so I was walking, and then I put my finger into my watch pocket and I realized I had $20 there for emergencies. This was very good. Maybe I get a cab, and yes, after a few minutes a cab came along as I was walking, and he stopped for me, and he was about a 10-minute trip to get home from where I was. I could have walked. It would have taken me a half an hour or something maybe. But I was quite fatigued, and I was also quite shocked, I guess, from getting this bite on my fingers. There's still blood on them. The doctors told me not to clean it, not to touch it, to let it be, because I'm only going to open up the scab again, like it's healing, so it's a wound. So I have to just let it be. They said don't put a bandage on it even, just leave it open in the open air. So that's what I'm doing. I'm considering I already had to go delicately with a nail file to clean some of the blood from under the fingernail, but I'm not poking it. I don't care his dirty, bloody fingernail. I don't care about that. I really don't. It's not important. So I just want this to heal properly. They gave me antibiotics. The doctor, before I left the hospital, he gave me an augmentin to take, one of those 625 jobs, and adult dose as it's called. And so I took that, and he gave me a prescription to get 1 week's worth of antibiotics to take for this potential infection. And when you get a prescription from a hospital in Ireland, it's messy, it's complicated. You have to take that then to your own GP, who will then rewrite that prescription, and then you can use this to get the drugs. So I had to do that. So my wife was going out, I gave her the prescription, she brought it to the doctor for me. In the meantime, I decided I would just go down to the pharmacy anyway to tell them there's a prescription coming. I just got bitten by a fox, and I need augmentin or the equivalent antibiotic, and can you please give me some? The prescription is on the way to you. And the girl at the counter, who I'd never met before, said, no, you don't have a prescription, we can't give you antibiotic, no. And that was it, just flat answer. And I was thinking, okay, I've never met this girl before. If this was one of the people that I normally know, this would not be the reaction given. They are more compassionate than this, and they will give you 1 or 2 days worth of the drugs when they're waiting for a prescription. But anyway, I said, okay. And I never make fights over silly things, and I knew this was only a trivial little thing. So I came back home again, and a couple of hours later then I phoned back. No, I didn't even know. They sent me a text message to say, Mike, we've got your prescription now, you can come and collect it, it's ready. So great. So I went down to the village. I walked down. This is the weather it was 2 nights ago, last night when this happened. It's really, really nice and calm weather here. Normally I'd be wearing a snood to keep my neck warm and keep warm, but not even. It's just really nice. In fact, I can even take this off, and I think I'm gonna. I wear many layers. It's Irish. It's the Irish weather. You need many layers. I could easily go down to my t-shirt, but I won't, because it is quite chilly. So yeah, so that is my story of the fox. It was a big surprise to everybody. My nurse friend was standing right beside me when it happened. It was a big surprise to everybody, but this is a wild animal. It's a wild animal. It might look cute, but it's far from cute. Its teeth were so small and razor sharp, really razor sharp. Barely a touch on my hand to make blood. So, like, what can I say? Here's what I have to say about foxes is this. I've got great love for foxes and all animals. And nothing despairs me more than when I'm driving on the road and there's a dead fox body, corpse, lying on the roadway. I hate that. And then what I hate even more is that quite often when there's a dead fox, there might be two dead foxes on the roadway because one fox gonna come out and try and help the other fox see what's going on with them, and whack, and they get killed too on the road. These main highway style roads, like 4-lane roads, which is close to my neighbourhood. I pass them a lot and drive them a lot. So that makes me sad. And even though the son of a bitch wounded me, could have given me mortal injury with some goddamn disease, I still love foxes. Like, I love all animals. The first time, I didn't have a dog when I was a small child. I got one when I was maybe 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. But the first time I encountered a dog, I was maybe 2 or 3 years old, and I was walking on the street with my minder, who was an old lady that lived down the road from me. Bridgie was her name. Bridgie was lovely. And me and Bridgie were going to the shop one day, and we passed by a house with a front garden and a wall and a gate, little gate, and there was a dog yapping around the front garden. And I was like, oh, a dog. And I went over and I put my hand over to say hello to the dog, and whoop, bit me. Just through the fence, so it wasn't really a deep bite. It was like he touched me, let's say, but he would give you a fright that he came at you with his teeth. And Bridgie thought that this would be the end of me and dogs. But far from it, it was the opposite, had the opposite effect. It only brought me more to love dogs and see that they're like, whoa, they're strong personality can be here. That's sometimes not good. So, yeah, I went on to love dogs. My first dog, Sparky, lived to about maybe 6 years, 7 years old, and then he was hit by a car and killed while I was at school one day. I came home and the dog was dead, and that was it. Mom was crying, Dad was probably crying. It was a crying time, I was crying. So we got another dog after Sparky died. He just ran out the gate. He never was allowed to. It was a big property that we lived on. And he had a great run, a huge garden, and it was fantastic for any animals. You could have horses there, like, it was big space. And one day he just ran out the front gate, which hadn't been closed, which is normally always closed, the front main gate to the house entrance. And he ran out straight across the road and whack, dead. As straight away, instant. So that was that. So we got over that, and then I got another dog, Sandy. Sandy was a lovely little dog, but quite soon after we got Sandy, also in a different property, in a different home, in a different town, in a different part of Ireland, in Tipperary. This one was, the last one would have been in Laois, in Port Laois, Sparky. And Sandy ran out the road the very same as Sparky and just got hit by a car, but he didn't die and got paralysed. So he lost the use of his back legs. Front was working fine, still licking you, still yapping, still smiling, but he couldn't use his back legs. And that was pretty horrendous for as long as he survived. And honestly, I can't tell you how long he survived. It was certainly months. Could it have been a year? I don't know. Maybe even, but I don't think so. I don't think he lasted that long. His bladder used to get over full because he'd still be drinking and eating, pooping, messy, and his bladder, you could visibly see it full, and I would have to pump his bladder to make urine for him because he couldn't use that part of his body at all. Paralysis, like, it was awful on the poor little guy, but I nursed him to the very end. I did what I could for him. I gave him all my love. And then he left as well, so that was sad. And then it was many, many years again before we would get a dog again, which is what we have now, who is Bo. And Bo is, they say he's 6. I think he's 5. I think they hyping up his age. I don't think he's that old. But anyway, he's 5 or 6. He's a cockapoo. And yeah, he's super cool. He's the ultimate guard dog. Nobody would come near anywhere that Bo is without great caution and reverence and respect for Bo, because he may bite just like that goddamn fox did me. That's what this video was about, wasn't it? That goddamn fox. Yeah, Bo, yeah, he could bite. In fact, he has bitten a friend of mine that was here one time because he turned his back on him, turned his back on the dog as he was leaving, and he just walked away. It was his first time meeting the dog. It was not a good idea. I would not recommend or ever do such a thing. I always show great deference to animals at all parts of our interaction, saying hello and saying goodbye. Like, they are a boss beyond bosses. The animal is, they're all wild animals. Some will tell you humans that we're wild animals too, and I guess we are, aren't we? I guess we are. It's getting a bit chilly now. I think I'm going to put my top back on. This is, I got this in Amsterdam maybe a year or two ago or something, and then many months, maybe years even, since buying it and since I'm wearing it like every day, it's my go-to hoodie, I ended up getting a tattoo, didn't I? And I was wondering where I got the idea for the tattoo. It's a Basquiat crown. And then I looked in the mirror, didn't I? There it is, like. That's why it was on my mind. It was on my mind so much because I'm just wearing it every day, like, So I'm going to be getting another one. I found that having multiple sclerosis, it's a weird one. And I've discovered that for some, we're all different with MS, all so wildly different. It's such a strange illness, disease, affliction, whatever you want to call it. But getting a tattoo, when you get a tattoo, I got a tattoo here. Hey, look, check out this one. This one is kind of creepy crazy because this is one of my more recent ones. It's a, what is it? Well, according to my recent histories of yesterday, it's a goddamn red fox, isn't it? It's the goddamn red fox that bit me, isn't it? Snip on these fingers, like that, yeah. So that's kind of interesting. It's supposed to be red for loyalty. I'm loyal like a dog. That's what it really means. But this red fox got into the story in the interim since. What was I saying? MS, yeah. So when you get a tattoo, it's basically an open wound on your body. And what happens in that kind of situation? Well, the immune system kicks in to tackle the problem and fix the open wound. So it does. And so your tattoo heals, as do all wounds. They will heal. But in triggering the immune system, well, it does that. It triggers the immune system. It triggers an immune response. And for me, I find that very beneficial for my multiple sclerosis. The effect that I get from having a tattoo and having my immune system firing up and kicking in a positive way, only positive way. You see, we're all different. Some it might not be like this, but for me, it's like this. So I'm kind of thinking that going forward, I will certainly probably get a tattoo just for maintenance once a year. Another tattoo, another tattoo, another tattoo. And give my body that, it's a tingling sensation that it gives me in a good way, like I say, and the after effects are nothing but good. So consider it, have a look into it yourself, like, you know, do your own research. I do my own research on everything, and I come up with the conclusions I can come up with. And you've got to stick with what you come up with, kind of, don't you? You've got to make a call on these things and try it, see if it's going to work for you. Sometimes it will work, sometimes it won't work. And I just saw a girl recently. She was talking about, she was 15 years old. Her mom was working a real low-paying job. She had to start work as well. And she started trying to sell things online. And she spent $500 on some product to do drop shipping with, and it didn't sell. She lost that money. And then a while later, she made some more money, and she bought some other type of product to do drop shipping with. And again, it flopped, and she lost her money. That's enough to put anyone off, isn't it? But not this girl. She went again, and she got another product. And this time, it worked, didn't it? Yeah, she was turning over 60 grand a month on this doggy drink thing, for going for a walk with the dog. I think a bottle that the dog can drink from it, that kind of thing. I don't watch YouTube videos, I only listen to them. Again, it's an MS thing. I don't like looking at images moving on screens, and why am I only looking at a moving head anyway for most of the time? Like, you're looking just at me here. So yeah, so that's it. Okay, so that was the dog, the fox bite on my hand. My hand is, it's like tingly, you know. It's got injured. It does have an injury. It could have infection in it. I don't know. I don't think so. I had the tetanus shot, so I should be good. And it's just the trivial minor injuries that I'm feeling, the cuts, like paper cuts. They were so, like, it was so razor sharp, those teeth. It was like paper cuts. That's what it feels like. This one particularly. You see there the scab from it? That feels like a paper cut. Oh, how those teeth work. Remarkable. Okay, thanks. See you next time. Another episode in my life.